So I'm going to assume this is. Okay, I'm hoping that this is now live and recording. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who have joined us live, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come here and listen to us. And for those of you in the future, welcome. I would like to start off by introducing myself. So my name is Catherine Quinn. I am the Head of School for STEM. And if I could ask my panelists to introduce their title and their name, please. Daniela, I'll pass to you first.
Hi everyone, so I'm Daniela, so I'm the Curriculum Manager here at Applied Science. So I help run the Level 3, T-Level, Level 1 and Level 2. Sam, do you want to go?
Hello everyone, my name is Sam. I'm the Curriculum Manager for Access and Higher Education, so I'm in charge of all of our provision for adult learners here at City and Islington. Jamie?
Hi everyone, I am Jamie. My role is as a work placement officer, so I'm helping students from level 1, level 2, level 3 find placements in medical and science, commercial environments, also working with the T-level lab science this year. So generally speaking, helping students get really valuable work experience opportunities in a relevant field.
Hi everyone, I'm Wafa. I'm a second year college student at City and Islington and I'm studying Applied Sciences.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. I think we've got a good range here on the panel for us to have a good and juicy discussion about careers within science. So I'm going to kick us off, I suppose, with Daniela. I might start with you. We have a very broad range of offerings here across science at City and Islington College. Could you maybe talk us through some of the courses we have and maybe even touch upon some of the entry criteria that students might need and some of the internal progression opportunities they might have?
Yeah, of course. So we've got quite a few. So I'm going to start off with the ones people are probably the most familiar with. So what we run here is a level 3. We run a level 3 in both biomedical science and we run a level 3 in applied science. It's a 2-year based program. So you study with us for 2 years and you have the opportunity to do 2 different pathways. So you can go into the applied science, which is more your chemistry, physics and biology, but it's more heavily focused on the chemistry side of it. And then you also have the biomedical, and the biomedical focuses more on the biology parts of it. So both courses have exams and coursework that you'll do throughout the year. With this one, you want 4s in your science and maths and English to be able to get onto the level 3 programs. Like I said, you study with us for 2 years, and at that end of your 2 years, you can move on to your next steps, whether that be university, whether that be into job or an apprenticeship, and we make sure that you are set up for whatever pathway you're going to go into. So they're the 2 big ones that we have. The entry requirements are the same for both of those level 3 courses. We also, at the moment here, run the T-level in laboratory sciences, which I know was briefly mentioned. So we've started to run this course. For this one, it's a slightly higher caliber in that we are looking for 4s and 5s in your GCSE maths, English and science. Forgot the biggest one there. Oh no, I'm like, this is a purely exam-based one. So you only do exams for this as well as an employer set project. But what's really nice about this pathway and what makes it different from that level 3 BTEC pathway is that you have to be doing industrial work experience at the same time. So you'll be doing most probably around 3 days within the classroom, learning the theoretical knowledge and getting those work ready skills. And then 2 days, we set you up with an employer where you go off and you do real life work experience in one of the labs within London. So that's where it's a little bit different to that BTEC. And I think later on, we'll discuss progression routes around where you can go in your next steps for the T-level. The last 2 courses are smaller courses. They're not 2-year based. They're about a 1-year base. And we'll start with the level 2. Our level 2 is like a BTEC and it's equivalent of GCSEs. So it's a 1-year program. People can study applied science, but we also have a forensic science as well now, where you can study to get the entry requirements to go onto the level 3 program. So your next steps there would be to get onto the level 3. one of our newer courses that we're running as well. And I know, I'm sorry, we've got so many under science, which is really, really good.
Oh, I love it. It's great. Keep going.
We have the level 1 applied science as well. So this might be maybe if you have come from another country and you know that you haven't got the GCSEs that you are required to have as a UK qualification, this might be a really good course for you. It is 16 to 18-year-olds. So it's anyone in the ages of 16 to 18 can join it. It's a 1-year program course, and what it will allow you to do is give you all the basic skills within science, but also basic skills within employment and work ready skills to move on to the next stage, which would be the level 2. So yeah, someone on our level 1 program would be pretty much with us for 4 years. They would be following us through level 1, level 2, into the level 3 or T level, and then they can progress on to their next steps outside of this college. So yeah, quite a wide range of different courses there.
Oh, Daniela, thank you so much. It sounds like we've got, you know, a really good kind of entry point there, different options for students to step into before they start their career within science. So that's great. It's great we have that range. And I'm really interested to talk more about the T level within science, because that is probably quite new to a lot of our viewers here, and they've probably got lots of questions about it. But I do know it's one of those more direct links into employment. But before we jump into that, I think you would agree that most of our students, probably 90+% of them, progress into higher education, because most careers within science would want you to have that kind of third level education at a degree level. So with the fact that majority of our students do go into higher education, what types of degrees have you seen some of our students progress into?
Yeah, so with our level 3 program and also our T levels, it gives you the equivalent of 3 A levels. So it gives you enough UCAS points to be able to progress into university. This year, I'll start off with this year and then I can talk through previous years. So this year we're seeing a real popularity with radiography. And I think, Wafa, you can agree here because it's our tutor group. It's become really, really popular, particularly diagnostic radiography. And we've seen a lot of learners apply to UCAS this year to get onto radiography. If you take the applied pathway or the biomedical, both can get you into that radiography side of it. With the applied science, so I was saying that that's more chemistry based, we get a lot of people going into pharmacy. And I know that we get quite a lot of people going into pharmaceutical and the pharmacy side of it. So I've seen in previous years, that's been our more popular course to get into those. The other ones that you can go into is because they're quite a bit more biology based, but quite a lot of them also go into chemical engineering. So I've had 2 learners that have gone off to do chemical engineering at a university. A lot of our learners stay around the London area to go to university, and we have quite good connections because we are so close, so they can progress into those London universities there. Physics, recently I think I did have someone that went for physics, just pure physics, and they got into that at university. I think I was telling the team the other day that we saw 2 learners that had recently graduated, and I saw them coming home from one of their university lectures. They were studying radiography at university, and they were saying how much they were enjoying it. A couple of them were actually starting their placements, but we were talking about if they felt prepared. And they said that actually the jump from when they finished this course to the jump into that first year wasn't as big as they thought it would be. So I think having the setup here where they can get that basic lab techniques really helped them when they were going into those next steps. So yeah, they're just some of them. We also have some learners that go a little bit rogue. They don't choose to go into science anymore, but they have the skill set to get them in. So I've had quite a few learners that went into computer science and got in recent years as well. As well as someone for philosophy, which they really liked them having that applied science route. So yeah, multiple different avenues.
Oh, that's really helpful. Thank you. And it's really nice to hear that, you know, hear back from some of our alumni students about how the courses they studied here really set them up to get them ready for those degrees. And I think that's a lot of feedback that we have from students, is their experience with written assignments, practical work, all of those skills have supported them in what they needed for university, which is sometimes missed with examination-based qualifications like what you would see in A levels. So I suppose in addition to that, to some of the kind of academic skills they learn, what type of employability-based skills do you think students develop during their time here whilst they're studying a BTEC course?
Yeah. So recently we spoke to one of our employers and we were kind of asking them, what do you want us to set up our learners with in order to be able to really succeed, whether it's a work placement or a lot of these employers also work in the research institutes within labs. So we kind of asked them, what skills were you looking for? And the first one that they said was basic lab skills. So that's quite broad, but what that means is the ability to be able to use a measuring scale to be able to measure. It's the use of being able to take a micropipette, solutions within science. So what's really good about the BTEC is that that's all incorporated, and the T-level, sorry, is all incorporated within the coursework. Or with the T-level, it's that they're getting those on that work experience already. So that was one of the core parts that they said they wanted us to set our learners up with. But what's really good about the course here is that it's not just the BTEC in applied science. You can also get a lot of other skills, whether it's with the work experience, with Jamie, who you met earlier, or if it's with some of our enrichment activities. But we try and help with communication. So that's a really big one. And a lot of the coursework units, you need that to have that communication. So I think our Unit 6 project one, you have to be able to communicate within that lab because you are doing your own scientific project. Leading on to that, that project also allows you to problem solve, which is a major part that employers are looking for, is the ability to be able to solve a problem and not just find the problem with no solution. And in science, that is a major part of what you'll be moving into. So in that unit 6, you have to make your own project. So you think of a question, you develop your hypothesis, and you will follow that through all the way until you have your analysis of results. And through that, you have to work through problems because practicals don't always go our way. And it's not a case, the teacher takes a step back and you have to problem solve what you would do in that situation. It also involves a lot of teamwork. I think, again, WAFA knows that you guys do work as a team and you guys support each other as a team. And I know that I've seen yourself help out other learners and they are developing how they're going to work in that team setting, which we know comes within science. I think the biggest one for me that we teach you is this self-motivation in our BTEC courses. I think because it's not one exam that happens at the end of 2 years, it's coursework that you've got to keep up with the whole way through. That self-motivation and that self-determination is something we really develop in our learners, that they will come out of this having done around ballpark 18 assignments, and they do that themselves with a few prompts from the teachers to catch up, but they really show that they are determined, they can work to tight deadlines. And I know that, well, now looking at the staff, that we all have to do that as well. So they get those skills quite early on. So yeah, I know I've missed hundreds, but I'll stick with those few.
You've done wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm going to come back to you, I think, at some point, but I think it would be a really nice point to introduce Jamie now into the mix, because I think you're highlighting all of the skills that we're trying to prepare them with, and alongside our academic programme we have work experience, which complements together to build our young people and our students to have all of the skills they need to move into their successful careers within science. So Jamie, I might pass the mic over to you now, if that's okay. And I know you've introduced yourself, but it'd be great for you to actually explain to us and our audience about what your role is here at the college.
Well, my role is to basically to build a bridge between students and meaningful, helpful, relevant work experience that will prepare them for whatever it is they end up doing beyond their course, whether or not that's to look for work, whether or not that's to apply for universities and to think about making a really compelling UCAS application, or whether or not that's apprenticeships or apprenticeship degrees. So there are, as Daniela has said, there's lots of different pathways for students beyond their course. Whatever route they take, work experience increasingly is becoming a really important part of them being able to present themselves at the next stage. So the other thing, I mean, it's really important that for the student, they get an opportunity to kind of find out what it is they want to do. A lot of students that I speak with will have not certainty about the future. They'll have an open mind, let's say, about what the next stage will look like. Work experience is actually a really helpful, instructive way for them to start to think about actually what it is they want to do. They've got to start to put themselves into a commercial environment where the dynamic will completely change to anything they've experienced before in terms of socially, their family dynamic, the classroom. Work experience is a completely new experience, and it will really focus minds in terms of getting people to think about what it is they want to do. So when I speak to a student about the kind of work experience that they'd like to do, and they're stroking their chin, saying they're not exactly sure what the future holds, I see that work experience is a really brilliant opportunity for them to start to kind of crystallize ideas, get a bit of a sense about the future, because actually it really fast tracks the process of working out what it is you want to do. And it might be that you go out and work experience and not enjoy it, not take to it, but at least that by elimination, you've been able to start to make sense of what would be a good future in terms of your career. So work experience is something that, I mean, I'm a big advocate of work experience in terms of student social skill building as well, soft skills. Like I say, it's kind of unique really for a lot of students to find themselves suddenly in a work environment with a deadline potentially, or being asked to communicate with customers maybe for the first time. For a lot of students, some students will have jobs, but for them to find themselves in this new dynamic where they're being asked to represent a company, understand the ethos of the company, and present themselves as a member of that organization, it's a really brilliant educational experience for them. So I'm always encouraging students to take opportunities to do work experience wherever possible. We set minimum hours in terms of what we expect our students to do, but a lot of students will go beyond that. A lot of students increasingly are able to identify the importance of it in terms of getting to the next stage, how it can just give them the little bit of an edge when it comes to applying for a university place. I mean, after all, it demonstrates that you're not just interested in the subject, but that you're interested in where the subject could lead you in terms of your career. And it shows that the student is being really proactive in terms of taking the next step. So it's a really good, as I say, increasingly, it's an important thing for students to address in terms of building their case for the next stage of their careers.
Jamie, that's incredible, and I could not agree more. I think we always find when students come back from their placements, it almost ignites that passion again about the subject, because they start to connect the dots as to what we're teaching them in the classroom and then how that applies to their future job in the industry. And just, yeah, I completely agree with you as well when you say we've had students in the past who have been, dreamed about being a pharmacist, and then they go out, do their placement in pharmacy and realise, oh, that's absolutely not for me, and that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So having that experience is just as important. So yeah, brilliant, James. You've actually answered my next question, which was around kind of what skills they would develop, and you've given a range there of kind of technical but also soft skills. Could I maybe flip the question a bit, where you would interact a lot with employers? What are the employers saying to you in terms of what skills are they wanting the kind of next generation to have? What's important to them? What are they telling us?
Well, I mean, my experience of working with employers has been that, I mean, the first thing that we hope the student will demonstrate is reliability in terms of arriving, turning up with a good attitude. So actually, employers aren't looking at this point in time necessarily for really expert technical skills. They understand that the students at the beginning of their educational career, that their educational journey and their career. So the expectations of students really is to just show an open mind and a positive attitude with regard to the placement. However, of course, young people have potentially skill sets that employers might be looking to tap into in terms of digital skills, in terms of marketing skills, in terms of using building up the online presence of the organization. For a lot of generations, mine included, that's kind of an alien concept for us, really. So we don't understand that as well as the younger generation. So the digital skills is again, it's a really good selling point for young people to make sure that they arrive with some sense of digital skills and how that can be used in terms of the organization. But really, as I say, I mean, you go back to the old-fashioned cornerstone, really, of if the student arrives with a really good attitude, interested in learning, open-minded to the nature of the organization, then they'll have a really good experience. And throughout the course of the year, there will be those students who are really keen to put themselves forward right at the beginning. They might have done some work experience, they might have a job, they're really confident. There are those students who are a little bit more reticent about what it would involve, but whatever kind of student it is that goes out on work experience, something of benefit will be there for them, even if they are students that are a little bit cautious or leave it till the last minute to kind of organize it, and we're phoning around to get something and they're not sure. Actually, when you speak to the students after the placement, you speak to the employers, quite often those students will have had a really brilliant experience. It'll be a really, really strong developmental exercise for them, because they're, as I say, they're getting those social skills that are you just can't get anywhere else really outside of the workplace. So employers increasingly, to return to the question, because I'm waffling on, employers increasingly are looking for, to some extent, the digital skills, but the main thing is that I always get from employers is just reliability and conscientiousness. That whatever generation, that hasn't changed, I think. So that remains true of what employers are looking for.
Jamie, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Again, I might pop back to you later if that's okay, so please hang on. But I would like to maybe move the conversation in a slightly different direction and to maybe a different audience. So we've been very much talking here towards our 16 to 18-year-olds. However, another significant proportion of our provision is tailored towards adults. We see lots of people who are currently already in the industry. They already have their established careers within a different sector, but they are wanting to move into a career within science. So Sam, I'd love to come over to you, please, as our curriculum manager for access and higher education for our adults who are looking to reskill and move over to a career in science. What are some of the courses we offer here?
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. So we offer a number of what we call access to higher education diplomas here. We work with OCN London. They're all one-year courses for adults. So if you're 19 and above, you can sign up for one of these. And in regard to science, we offer 3 that would be of interest. So we have an access to medicine, access to medical biosciences, and access to health and human sciences. So access to medicine is what it sounds like. It is a course for those who are interested in going on to study either medicine or dentistry at university. In terms of entry requirements, you need GCSE English and GCSE Maths at a grade 6 minimum. And you also need to take something called the UCAT exam. This isn't an exam which everyone in the UK who wants to go and study medicine or dentistry at university needs to do before they apply. You can sit it in the summer, you book an independent test centre, and we require a score of 630 for our course. If you get that, you can then come and sign up with us either over the summer or in September when we're enrolling, do this one-year course, and if you get enough distinctions in all of your units, you can then progress on to university. It's built of maths, a small bit of maths, but then mainly biology, physics, and chemistry. And there's also some units called study skills built into the diplomas. Those are to get people who haven't perhaps studied in a formal setting for a few years back into the habit of being able to revise effectively, independently, being able to do formal referencing, being able to conduct a scientific project in the correct way. And those are really helpful for our learners because over the course of that 1 year, it then means they're really well set up for when they do go to university for that more independent style of learning. We then also have access to medical biosciences, which requires a grade 4 at maths and English GCSE, so a bit lower, and you don't need a UCAT. The access to medical biosciences is a really exciting diploma because it means there are so many routes which you can then progress onto. Again, it's biology, chemistry, and physics. But we have learners on the course this year who are applying for things like pharmacy, as Danny mentioned earlier, radiography, like a lot of WAFA's group are doing, things like physiotherapy, paramedical sciences. And then also, if you want to go down a more pure science route, we have people doing things like neuroscience, or you can go into research based on whichever types of courses you apply for at university. We then have a third diploma called Access to Health and Human Sciences, which is a bit more specialised. This is for those who want to go into either nursing or midwifery. Again, you need 4 GCSEs, grade 4 for English and for maths. And this one has, again, physics, chemistry, biology, but also some psychology added in there. So suitable for things like mental health, nursing at university. With all our courses, they are a blended combination of some online learning and also some in-person learning. They're no more than 3 days a week because they're designed so that if you are working, if you have childcare commitments, you are able to come to the diploma around those other commitments and make it work for you, so that they're not as intensive as the courses for 16 to 18-year-olds. While you're here, you're also given your own personal tutor who helps walk you through the UCAS application steps. So that's writing your personal statements, doing some interview practice, doing everything you need to make sure you're getting the best shot at getting into the university of your choice. And again, learning here at the Angel campus, all of the practical skills Daniela was mentioning earlier with the BTECs and with the T-levels. Again, you're taught by lecturers who have years, decades of experience in their chosen industries. So all of those practical skills that you will need in terms of the practicals you'll be carrying out at university, you will be learning those as well. Another requirement for all of our diplomas, again, is some work experience. As Jamie was mentioning, it's so important to have gone out into the real world, either done some volunteering or some shadowing work in the area that you then want to go into. It's really important that you've seen what life is like in those sectors, if that's something that would appeal to you on a day-to-day basis. Also gives you some great insight and something to talk about in your personal statement. Also something to talk about if you do then get an interview for whichever university you want to go into. And again, as Jamie was saying, can really open your mind up to considering some paths that you hadn't considered before. We have some people who are completely set on medicine, they only want to be a doctor, and then actually they do some work experience and they find out that, oh, well, diagnostic radiography is actually really interesting, and they want to go and explore that kind of side of things instead. So those would be the 3 main options you would have if you're an adult who really liked science, who either maybe didn't get the grades when you originally went to school, either college or sixth form, and you're looking to actually, I want to go back into education, I want to take that year and then go to university, or you've been doing something else, you've decided to retrain. We have quite a few people in the current cohort who are having really successful careers in other sectors, but actually science was their passion, it's something they'd always wanted to do, and these access courses give them the flexibility to be able to take a year, retrain, go to university again, and then start that second career choice.
Sam, that was so thorough. Thank you so much. Every time I wrote down a question, you'd actually followed it up with the answer. So thank you so much for that. And I really appreciate what you've mentioned there. I think we find a lot of students are, particularly for these types of courses, quite hesitant coming back into education, because compared to our 16 to 18-year-olds, where they would have a wealth of experience in the industry, their fears or reservations are around just getting back into academia. And I think you've answered quite nicely there around, we have study skill based units which help develop those skills. But I think what we've also seen is the social connections that these students make, that they're at similar points within their lives or careers, sometimes have similar struggles, and they're bonding over that whilst bonding over the course as well. I think you mentioned the other day they set up an online study group together that you were able to tap into and help out with, and yeah, it was just really, really nice to see. So thank you so much for that. You've kind of answered all of my questions, but we might have some follow-up Q&As at the end. So thank you, Sam. So I would love to move over to one of our students here on the call, who is called Wafa. Wafa, can you hear us okay? You've disappeared from my screen, but I hope you're still there. Wafa, can you hear me? One of those wonderful technological live difficulties that we might have. Okay, well, whilst in the background, I will give Wafa a bit of a message. I might re-divert then the conversation back to Daniela and Jamie, if I could, please. I think we haven't given enough attention towards our T-level, because this is obviously a very unique course, and the whole point is about building and getting them into a career within laboratory sciences. So I wonder, Daniela, I know you've touched upon it, but could you maybe talk a little bit more in depth about what the T-level is and how it gets them ready for a career, whilst I give Wafa a call in the background?
Yeah, of course. So like we were saying, we run the T-level course here in laboratory sciences. So we specifically chose that pathway for our science cohort because we have an outstanding laboratory technician team that are helping us support and teach these learners the skills that they need to go into those next steps. So I was saying before, it's a 2-year program. And what I really love about this course and what I really love teaching is that we don't just teach you the chemistry, physics, and biology theoretical stuff. You also get the chance to be doing a unit where you do work ready skills. So rather than just coming in, the practical set up for you, you do the practical and you leave, we actually make sure that you are getting the real life work experience you would at university. So you actually would order in the practical. You would set the practical up and make the dilutions for the practical. You would carry that practical out, get results, analyze the results, and then you would present them to a team. And what we've seen is that that is setting up these learners for those next steps. Like I was saying, we also work with employers. So 2 days a week, our learners, or 2 to 1 day a week, depending on what the employer wants, our learners can go off and kind of get work experience in a real life laboratory. And that is really helping them with their next steps, because what we see is that a lot of universities, apprenticeships, they want to see that our learners are getting work experience and not just a qualification. And this is really going to set you up with it. So you will be doing, and Jamie, I cannot remember, is it 41 days? Off the top of my head?
45 days, I think.
45 over 2 years,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, 45 days over a 2-year period, which is, so that's 45 days. 1 day a week would be longer than 1 college year. So it's a significant amount of time, but it's actually all the better for it. It means that by the end of the placement, the student will have built up a really good understanding of what the organization does. It may well be that the student will have taken ownership over a specific project within the organization. Returning on a weekly basis, they start to bed in, they start to feel part of a team. So it's actually a kind of a placement structure which has been rolled out across Northern Europe for many years. So it's good that the UK is moving in this direction, because it actually is leading to really positive results. Students, I mean, we've had experiences of students making a really good impression during these extended style placements, being offered jobs at the end of it. Or in one case that we've actually had, a student was doing work experience with a local laboratory. The laboratory ended up working and studying at the same time with the laboratory, and the laboratory is covering the cost of the student's course fee. So really good things can happen as a result of these extended placements. You're not arriving for 1 week and getting under people's feet or doing menial tasks. You're really involved, and the longer you're there, the more employers will start to give you responsibility, and as I said, that relationship will really develop over the course of the 2-year course.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's why it's such a desirable course as well, because like you said, you build up these relationships with these employers, and rather than you going into a degree that you're unsure about, and I know with the university funding at the moment, it is quite significant on a young person's life. Actually, what we're finding is that some of these employers, like you said, are building relationships, and will be like, we'll fund you through this study to get your qualifications as well. And because that learner is so set up from the T-levels with the basic laboratory skills and all the employability skills, because it is part of their qualification with that exam, we're seeing that most of these employers will just be like, perfect, they can come, they can set straight foot, and they can get going with these research projects with us, rather than having someone that might need a little bit more training. So yeah, it's a really exciting course, and they've had some really exciting opportunities recently where they've helped us with interviews. They interview themselves. I think one of them went and spoke to, and Catherine, you will have to remind me of this one as well. I'll be very forgetful tonight. 2 of our learners for T levels went off and spoke to, I can't remember.
You're going to have to give me more than that. Spoke to.
I believe it was the Department of Education, but I hope I've got that one right.
Oh yes,
and
they
yeah,
represented us as a college, feeding back to the DFE. Yeah, they did a brilliant job.
And they get some amazing opportunities like that as well, that helps build up that personal statement and all the experience they need. So yeah, thank you for finally getting there.
I was just going to add that it's kind of the future, really, to sort the days of students studying theory away from the reality of the commercial workplace, arriving at the commercial workplace, and employers saying, well, they don't really have the skills that we hoped they would have in order to start their career. Like, that interface is just becoming closer and closer and closer as a relationship. And the other thing is actually that employers with T levels, employers now get to feed back into the curriculum as well, to say, actually, this is what we want the students to be doing. So it's employer driven as well, the syllabus itself, and that relationship will continue to become more and more cyclical, I think, as T levels become more of a thing, that employers will play a bigger part in terms of setting the educational expectations so that students are completely ready. I mean, they've been hopefully in situ with an organization, and it may be that organization will look to extend that relationship with the student. But if not, even if that isn't the case, they've been armed with really good commercial wares, so that by the time they, whatever it is, go to university or apply for work, that they're just that bit better off in terms of putting themselves forward as an applicant.
Absolutely. And I have to say, well done to you both in setting up a very successful programme, from the design right through to setting up these placements. I know it's giving our young people a fantastic experience, and it's really setting them off on a fantastic journey. So thank you both for that. I'm going to try my best here because we don't have a lot of time left. I'm so desperate for your input here, Wafa. So I hope our connection, or we have reconnected again. Wafa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm really sorry, my Wi-Fi is just not doing so well right now, but yeah, I can hear you.
Do not worry. Well, Wafa, I'd love to finish up this careers in STEM conversation. I'd love you to tell us who you are, what are you studying, what's your plan, Wafa, what's your next steps?
So I'm in my second year of college, and I'm studying applied sciences. It consists of 13 units, and they're spread across the 2 years. And so there's 4 exam units and I believe 9 assignment units, and that is spread evenly throughout the 2 years, like I said. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a combination of like physics, chemistry, and biology, and you learn so much in terms of like each subject, and you get such a wide range of topics in biology and chemistry. And the experiments are also just really crucial in just learning, the basic laboratory techniques. And I think you just you get so much from this course. And the teachers are just all so supportive, and you can just tell they really enjoy what they're doing, and they're also amazing, and you just learn so much, and it's a really amazing experience. And yeah, so Jamie actually helped me as well with finding my work experience. So I'm currently doing a farm placement, a city farm placement, and I'm really enjoying that. It's given me like a wide range of just view into the veterinary career, which is what I want to go into, hopefully. And so it's just been really, really helpful. Yeah.
Oh, well, Wafa, you are wonderful. Okay, you make it easy for us teachers when we have students like you. And I think your journey is a really, really interesting one, because you have been on quite a journey. You're doing a fantastic job at your course, but you're also putting in a lot of time with this work experience as well. I know it's quite a full-on timetable for you. I suppose what I would love, because I imagine that there are many people sitting on the other side of the screen in the audience who are in your position 2 years ago. What advice would you give them? What do they need to think about before making decisions? And what would you tell your past self?
I think I would just say, firstly, well done for going through and getting through your GCSEs. It's a really big accomplishment. And I think, when you're done with them, everyone's just focused on the next steps. But I think it's nice to just really live in the moment and, appreciate how far you've come, firstly. But also not to stress out too much. And I wish someone said that to me 2 years ago, because it can be daunting. The next 2 years are basically coming to your point. And I think it's really important to just, take time to really absorb what you're going through. And even if you don't end up doing the course that you wanted to do, because that happened to me, it truly is a blessing in disguise, and you're going to learn so much from it. And I think just be happy with whatever outcome you have, and not to really burden yourself too much, I think.
Thank you, Wafa. Well, the future is very bright for yourself, okay? And I think world, watch out for Wafa. She's coming out. Yeah, she's got a fantastic career ahead of her in the world of veterinary sciences. Okay, so that kind of concludes where I wanted to go with this conversation. And I think we have a couple of minutes left, so I might just check to see if we have any questions in the Q&A box from our audience. So one question we have is, where can I get more information about the college and the facilities that you have? I think that's a very good question. And Daniela, I might throw that towards you. Where can we get this info?
Yeah, of course. So the first thing you've got is the college website. So if you go straight onto the college website, you can look at all the different courses that we have to offer. So it's the City in Islington, and on there, you'll see all the different courses with their entry requirements. And on that, you can sign up and you can put your email in, and then you'll become part of our mailing list. So throughout the whole year, we have so on the 22nd of November, actually, we've got an open day. I think I agree with Wafa with what she was saying, that if you're not sure what your next steps are, or you're undecided at the moment, particularly with these GCSEs coming up, it's worth coming into the college and having a conversation. The lecturers here and the students that are present on that day have so much information about what your next steps are, what career paths you could look at, what courses would be best suited for you. So we have that coming up, and then there's a few more dotted around the year, mainly on that Wednesday. We also have student interviews, so you can actually then sign up, come for our student interview, where we're going to give you more information about our course. But what's really nice is that you get to see the labs, you get to have a look around, we set up some experiments for you. We have amazing students like Wafa that are helping us as student ambassadors that you can talk to about that real life student experience, because I know I will say it's absolutely incredible. So you'll have those kind of people to talk around as well. So you have all those different options to kind of get more information about your next steps. And I can't emphasize enough that because I know it's an overwhelming amount of information, just come talk to us. And I know that all the staff here are very good at directing onto what we think would be the best pathway. So yeah.
Wonderful. And I think we might have time to squeeze in one more question. And Sam, I'm going to direct this one to you, please, because I think it's from an adult learner. Hi, I'm interested in biomedical science. I'm 24 years old, however, not doing well in GCSE maths. Could I join? Sam, what would you be suggesting for someone who wants to do biomed with that kind of profile?
So the good news with biomedical sciences is we have two slightly different pathways. So one of the groups or one of the cohorts, they have the option to do a GCSE maths for adults. Again, here at the centre, that's built into your timetable. So if you haven't quite got the maths grade you need, you can retake that alongside your diploma, so that by the time the end of the year comes, you have the diploma and also the grade you then need for university. On the flip side, we then also have a cohort who are doing GCSE English. So again, if that's not quite up to scratch, you can take that alongside your studies as well. And just like Daniela said, if you're an adult who's interested, come along to one of our Wednesday evening sessions. You'll meet some of your lecturers, you'll meet the people who would be your tutors for next year. And the earlier you come in the year, the sooner we can then say, this is what we'd recommend preparing over the next few months before you come back and enroll with us in the autumn. And also, if it goes really well, that chat, we can actually give you a conditional offer. So we can say, if you come back with these grades, you might choose to retake a maths or an English GCSE independently before you come back. If you get these grades before the summer, then when you come to enrollment, we already know you, we've already had a chat, we know you're a right fit for the course, and then we can enroll you right there and then.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, I think we are officially out of time. So I just want to say thank you to everyone on the panel this evening. For you at home, online, on the screen, I hope it was worthwhile. And please, yeah, come along and see us if you've got some more questions. Thank you, everyone.